5-minute view from the Kop after the match. Sheffield Wednesday down at Cardiff, finished 1-1. Sheffield Wednesday came back second half to level a Ihiekwe goal, which is something that you don't say very often. After Cardiff pretty much dominated the first half, Wednesday just seemed very lacklustre. They seemed a little bit weak in certain areas of the pitch. We got a decent side out, but they didn't really get out of their own half, well, for most of the match really, but we did push on a little bit second half after we fetched some on. So, I mean, looking at the team, Jamal Lowe from hardly had a sniff at all, but then again, you can say that really, if you're not getting the ball where you are, you probably need to go looking for it. We see it so many times. How many times you see it with Harry Kane ended up being on the edge of his own box to try and pick the ball up and run with it. Lowe didn't really get that far forward, but struggled. We got Josh Windass behind him, and again, I thought he didn't have that wonderful a game, really, not that influential, and I think one of the things may have been, certainly first half, that we had Bannon and Chalabar in the middle and no Shea Charles. Interestingly enough, no James Beadle, so we had Pierce Charles in goal instead, but more on that in a second. So no Shea Charles, and I think Chalabar's, obviously he's got some talent, but has he really got the energy to do a full match? Is he too calm and collected when you need a bit of impetus? I think maybe that might be it. And so we did really sort of look a little bit lacklustre in that sense. Gassama, again, didn't really have one of those outstanding games. Maybe he's done his bit for this season in that sense. There's been a lot on his shoulders and he just seems to have been off the boil a little bit recently. I think, we've got to look at this team. I think overall, with this match, they needed to win to try and make sure that they can stay in this league. We needed to win really to have any chance whatsoever of pushing on. I think there are teams faltering above us, so actually, if we had won, we'd have been even closer to a playoff place. Certainly in this match, we didn't look like a playoff team, but then again, I think it just shows the quality of this league this year, that we are where we are, and there are other teams around. It's not just us. Because at times we've looked really, really good. Obviously struggling at the back. Obviously Dominic Alpha coming back has strengthened the back, but Ihiekwe, got to say, he's come under a lot of stick, and I know that he's limited, but he always puts a shift in, and I think he played really, really well in this match, as did come onto it. So a bit of a surprise really that Danny Roll decided to switch it and stick Pierce Charles in the net, and this is just another accomplished young player. I mean, it's been good having Beadle in goal, and it's shown us that so you can bring you through, and even though he's not ours, but we don't want to let Pierce Charles slip away, which certainly could easily happen if, as expected, if we don't go up. I think there's going to be potentially, teams going to be looking at picking their bones from our side, because we could potentially need quite a lot of changes. So we came to the second half and we played better. We'd brought Ingleson on for Lowe, Charles came in for Chalabar, and Marvin Johnson came in for Rio Hatsusi. Rio, he's got skills, he's getting into it. He's not quite there really at the moment, but certainly I just wonder whether there's just some players that maybe when you're wanting fresh legs that they're going to be good, give us a bit of an impetus. I think with Rio, he is a good player going forward. He's got a good cross on him and he can throw a ball. Is he a player at this moment in time that we need to stick on from the start? I'm not quite sure. I mean, obviously Marvin Johnson coming on, he's a bit more of an old hand. He comes on, he makes mistakes. Maybe we needed him first half when they were coming at us. They just seem to just come straight at us, and we've always had this problem, whenever a team doesn't give us space to play, we then struggle, and you're hoping that those quality players that you've got in your side that can actually do the one-touch passing, that move, that play the balls into the right positions, you're hoping that those kind of players can see you through spells when they're coming at you, because there's only so long they can chase a game. But they pretty much they dominated the whole of that first half, and rightly so, they went in front. Now we're talking about Cardiff. They're down where they are. They're 21st, and they've got a minus 20 goal difference. I mean, they've drawn this game and won the game before, so they're probably on the up a little bit, and it's that time of the year where everybody's suddenly turning into Barcelona right at the bottom of the league, You've got Derby 1-3 on the bounce and Luton 1 and 2 out of 3. I still think that, the bottom 3 are not necessarily sealed, as we've got that sort of top 6. Once you get past, United and Leeds are taking it in turns, aren't they? Leeds are falling apart again, which is good to see, but unfortunately at the expense of the Blades. Burnley's keeping pushing on. Yeah, I still think up there that's not settled, and the playoff places are there to be taken. We just don't really seem to have had enough this year to be able to do it. We've got Hull next, just above Cardiff, but we're playing at home, so we'll probably throw that one away. It's very difficult times at the minute. We've found out since the match that it seems that the players have not been paid. Was this a performance that showcased a team that had not had the wages? Maybe so, I don't know. Certainly second half, things looked up. We showed a little bit more impetus going forward. We showed more strength. Bringing on players like Ingleson, Charles, Johnson, Michael Smith when he came on did go looking for it, and he had more touches. Certainly, good to see Firmino coming back on, and he's going to be very useful having players like that. But he came on, he didn't have a touch of the ball in 10 minutes, which I suppose is a good thing. It shows that we kept them out. So really, you can't lambast anybody and say they were rubbish today or the other day. Nobody was particularly ineffective, but they weren't particularly effective either. Bannon came out pretty good out of the game. Ihiekwe was brilliant, very close between him and Pierce Charles for man of the match. Charles made some really good saves, looked very confident. There was a lot of playing the ball around at the back, and they were putting the pressure on, and he seemed to cope very well with that. No issues at all really there. We looked okay at the back. Their goal was a bit of an odd one really. The player, don't think anybody expected him to shoot, and Charles was not on that side of the goal at the time. I don't think he could do anything about it. The ball came to him and he decided to play it and use the momentum of the ball to take it forward. I think it went under Bannon's legs and into a pretty much open net at the time. You just wouldn't have expected that would have been a shot, but they took it. They had a few more chances, and those chances we dealt with fine. Charles made some really good saves. Paul Valentin got up and down that right hand side, did it okay, pretty effective. He's a trier, maybe not necessarily got quite the skills that you'd really like, and I think Valerie perhaps has got a little bit more but a little bit less impetus, so it's interesting having both of those two on that side as an option, like I say, with Rio and Marvin as well on that other side. So it was one of those games, probably earlier on in the season we'd have been happy with it, but now we're just sort of saying, really, are we going for it? If we are going to go for it, we need to be winning matches like this, and certainly next week. Let's just see where we are after next week. I think it's probably way too late now, but if we beat Hull convincingly, that'd be nice. Then potentially we could see whether we've actually managed to get close or not. Okay, so a little bit more than 5 minutes, certainly more than 5 minutes afterwards, but managed to get a little bit more perspective on this match after watching a full match replay. Okay, see you after the Hull game. See you later.